Started. I am Ann Forrest. I am a volunteer with the Office of Emergency Management, but this class is not sanctioned by the Office of Emergency Management, but all the information that I'm going to present is, um, it's all good information. I don't pass rumors or anything else. There's my email, seattleprepares@gmail.com, and I am delighted you guys are here. So we are recording this. When I put this online, it will only be the slides and maybe my face, so none of you will be on this recording. I am a Navy nurse. I did that for 20 years, and then I homeschooled my son for 8 years, and then we moved to the city of Seattle, and I got involved in disaster preparedness. I will be recording this. We are recording this class, and I will clean the recording up a little bit, and then I will throw it on YouTube, and you will get a link to that. So if you miss anything, or if you just want to send it to someone, that's fine. Yes, I will send out the slides if anybody wants them. They're very unique to me. They only kind of make sense in my head, so I don't know that they're super helpful, but you're welcome to them. And then there will be homework. Hopefully you all got the handout that I sent. It is notes on the 2 topics we're going to talk about. And then at the bottom in an orange square, there's your to-do list for the week. This is a 6-week course. It's really short, 2 topics in under 30 minutes, but there are things that you need to do to help your household prepare. So please pay special attention to that homework, and we'll go over it just a little bit. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Okay, this is our first topic, and it's what to do when the earth shakes. It's really just how to survive an earthquake. I assume that because all of you have tuned into this class that you understand that Seattle is at risk for earthquakes. We have several different types of earthquakes here, and luckily we don't feel them very often. That's actually good and bad. If we had more earthquakes, more people would be aware of our risk, and more people would probably be prepared. I think it's safe to say that California is more prepared than we are because they get shakes more often. My hope is that someday we have a 4.2 earthquake and it shakes everybody up and people start getting really prepared really fast. Congratulations for being ahead of the curve and being on here now. So we are at risk for earthquakes here in the Seattle area. The good thing is if you're prepared for an earthquake, you're prepared for many of our other risks that we have in this area as well. And most of those are power outages and windstorms, snow and ice, that kind of stuff. What to do when the earth shakes? Drop, cover, and hold is the message that everybody gives, and it is the best message. Do not run in an earthquake. It's very, very common for people to run screaming out of the building. That is the worst thing to do, and we'll talk about why. So you really do, as soon as you feel the earth shake, drop down to your hands and knees, crawl under something if you can, protect your head and the back of your neck. So there are some myths out there about moving to a doorway as if that's a safer place to be. That is not good advice. That is old thinking based on actually a different kind of architecture. So doorways are not a safer place to be. They are not stronger than the rest of the building, and they're swinging doors. So you're either going to get hit by a door or your fingers are going to get crushed in the hinges. So do not move to a doorway. Another myth that's out there is called the triangle of life. The myth says that you're safer if you're next to a piece of furniture rather than under it. And so if stuff was going to fall off from the ceiling, it would hit the table, let's say, and it would hit the table and then the ground, and it would create this little triangle where you would be safe. That is not true. That myth has been busted. So the triangle of life is not something that anyone should be talking about anymore. I'm going to show this video. I love this video because it's a bedroom. It's a very small bedroom. It's a kid's bedroom. It's really good, and it gives you a sense of what to expect during an earthquake. That was a very short earthquake. If it's a very strong earthquake, it will last quite a bit longer, 4 to 6 minutes if it's a truly, truly strong earthquake. So quite a bit longer. But you get the general sense of the fact that everything just comes crashing down. If it is not secured, it will come down. On your to-do list, which again is at the bottom of that handout I gave you, the second thing on your to-do list is lie in every bed in your house and look up and figure out what's going to fall on you. what could potentially fall on you. We spend a third of our lives in bed, so we really want to make sure that we're safe in bed. If there was an earthquake and you were in bed, what you would do is lie face down, put the pillow over the back of your head, and protect your neck. We talk about protecting our head, but really our heads are surrounded by this amazing skull that's really, really protective. A more vulnerable part of our body is actually the back of our neck. So whenever you're putting your hands in back there to protect something, put your hands on the back of your neck if you can. It's folks with shoulder issues have problems with that, but hands on the back of your neck, put your elbows as close to your head as you can, and just keep everything cradled and safe. Pillow over your head, protect your neck, stay there until the shaking stops. And then hopefully underneath your bed, you have put a flashlight, because more than likely the power will go out if it's a strong enough earthquake, and a pair of shoes. And that's because even if you've done a great job of securing stuff in your house, something's going to hit the ground and fall and break. And you don't want to get out of bed and step on that with bare feet and start the whole recovery process with an injured foot. So put shoes under your bed and put a light source under your bed. And that's on your to-do list. So that'll just remind you to do those two things. Some people will take their shoes and tie them to the bedpost, or put them in a bag and tie the bag to the bedpost, because the bed will probably bounce if it's a strong enough earthquake. So if it's tied to your bed, you know which corner of your bed to go looking for your shoes at. So shoes and a light source underneath your bed. That's how you ride out an earthquake in bed. If you have kids, try and practice this with them. It will be very difficult if they're very young kids, because their instinct is to jump out of their bed and run to yours. If you can, teach them to stay in bed. Yell to them, stay in bed, I'll be right there. Stay in bed, I'll be right there. I'm not sure you can convince them to stay in bed, but hopefully you can teach them that that's the smarter thing to do, and that you will come get them as soon as you get your shoes on and your light source. If you're in school or an office, you're going to move away from the windows, drop cover, and hold on. So drop as soon as you feel the earth shaking, because if you don't get down on your hands and knees soon enough, the earth will throw you down on your hands and knees. So even if you feel kind of silly, if you feel the earth moving, get down on your hands and knees. Even if it's a light earthquake, you still were smarter to get down there on your own power rather than be thrown to the floor. So get down on your hands and knees, cover, meaning find something to get under if you can, and hold on, because that table will bounce. You want to make sure that you're bouncing with it and it doesn't move away from you. Again, protect your neck, and you just stay there until the shaking stops. I'm going to play another video. This one is a classroom, and this is a classroom in Alaska. And these kids, it's a little hard to tell, but these kids are really well trained. They obviously do lots of earthquake drills in Alaska, which makes perfect sense because they get hit with earthquakes more than we do. But watch how quickly they get under. They're really, really smart. And then watch the instructor as he kind of takes his cue from the kids. It's kind of interesting.
Don't let yourself be convinced to do something that you know is bad, and then finally just share the
with even a few seconds of warning.
So if there is no table or desk where you are, crawl to an interior wall. Not that an interior wall is stronger, it's just further away from the glass, further away from windows. So interior wall or next to low-lying furniture like a couch, and you stay there until the shaking stops. So both these folks in the picture are covering the back of their neck, which is great. This gentleman that's in the chair is really trying to get his back lower than the back of that chair. So if something falls from the ceiling, it's going to hit the back of that chair before there's an impact on him. So good on him. This is a grocery store. Tough place to be in an earthquake, especially if you're in the canned food aisle. But a couple things you can think about doing. If you're in a wheelchair, put the brakes on the wheelchair. And again, he's trying to get as low as he can, so stuff will maybe hit the handlebars of that wheelchair before him. This person is squatting, down on all fours next to a cart. Again, just trying to make sure that anything coming from the ceiling hits that cart before it hits him. And this woman in front is protecting a younger child, a small child underneath her or him. So that's a way to protect your kids. So that's kind of what you would do in a grocery store. It's a tough situation to be in. Next is an elevator. If you're in an elevator, push all the buttons to try and get the elevator to stop at the closest floor and try and get out. If you're in a theater, again, these folks are crouching down as low as they can so that the back of the seats are higher than their back. Protect your head and neck. No reason, if these people were able to, there's no reason why they couldn't be or shouldn't be down on the floor. I would get down there with the popcorn and the spilled soda and let the chairs take the brunt of it. If you have just exited a building, go back inside. The potential for stuff to fall off that building, whether it's gargoyles or concrete or glass from the windows, there is going to be a lot of stuff falling on the sidewalk right outside buildings during an earthquake. So if you have just exited a building, go back inside. Even just a little bit in that side, you're going to be much safer than standing out on the sidewalk. And then drop, cover, and hold on as best you can. And this is why you don't want to be on the outside of a building during an earthquake. You either want to be inside that building or further out in the street or closer to the street. If you are outside, get as low as you can. Again, you're trying to just make yourself as small a target as possible. Get as low as you can and stay away from power lines, buildings, and vehicles. This is what our kids practice when they do earthquake drills outside. They're just on the playground. If you're driving, pull the car over, set your parking brake. You're going to avoid overpasses or any kind of bridge, because even if that bridge is still usable and cars can make it across, all the concrete on the bottom of the bridge will probably crack and fall down into the roadway. So you don't want to be under there if you can help it. And then stay away from power lines because those will come down during an earthquake. If you are near the shore or beneath a dam, you have two things you need to do. First, drop, protect your head and neck, and as soon as you can, walk quickly to high ground or inland. You want to move. Don't ask if it was an earthquake. Don't ask if you're going to have a tsunami. Assume there's going to be a tsunami and get to higher ground or inland. Signs that a tsunami is coming: the ground shakes. If there was an earthquake, there will be a tsunami. If water recedes below the low tide level, if you see water leaving the shore and seeing more and more sand, that's a bad sign. That's a sign that you need to move very quickly to higher ground. Don't wait, move. A tsunami is not a wall of water. It's the movies depict it that way, and that's not how it looks. The waves for even a really strong tsunami are like 5 foot tall. They're really not that tall. They don't get tall until they hit the ground, until they hit shore. So you can't really see them coming very well. So don't wait to see a big wave coming. You won't. There is a ton of water there and it is coming your way, but it's not going to look like a 20-foot wall of water. This is a good picture of how you cradle a small child if you have one near you and you're in an earthquake. She's holding onto the table and protecting that child against her. That was our first topic. We're going to go on to the second one, and this one's really fast. Smartphone apps and other useful technology. Typically, we don't recommend people rely on technology after disasters because a lot of times it's not going to be useful, but some might be useful. I've given you access to QR codes to download a bunch of apps that are meant for disasters. The two that are on the screen now are from the Red Cross and FEMA, and they are both apps that need to know where you are in order to be helpful. And you need either a cell phone signal or Wi-Fi of some kind. These two that are on the screen are useful almost before a disaster because they can alert you to things that are going on. You're in a floodplain, a hurricane is headed your way. There's lots of flooding or whatever. So these two apps can give you lots of information about your surroundings, if they're working at the time, if you have power and internet, and if they can tell where you are. So you have your location stuff turned on. There's two other apps. They're really good. They're called Pulse Point. And one of them tells you if someone nearby needs help. as in needs help with their heart, and they help you find the closest AED, automated external defibrillator. They'll actually help you find it and then get that AED to that person and help them with that cardiac emergency. You'll learn much more about these. I'm not going to go through all of the apps that are possible. So the first ones, you needed to have internet access for them to work. These apps that I'm going to talk about now work even if you don't have a cell phone signal or internet. It's kind of like storing that information on your phone. Red Cross has a first aid app that you can download. Really good, lots of great information. They have first aid for pets. WebMD has an app that you can download on your phone, and it's there even if you don't have cell phone signal or internet. So it's kind of like carrying a medical book around with you. There's an app that I've suggested having to do with survival. The one on the bottom left is hazardous material spills. There's a magic 30-minute window after a hazardous material spill where what you do really matters. It would be good to have that information on your phone and available. Google Translate. What if you're with someone who doesn't speak the same language as you? You can still communicate even after a disaster if you've downloaded the languages you need using Google Translate. This one happens to be a knot tying app. Again, super useful. It's kind of like carrying a book from the Boy Scouts around with you. These, and there's a couple more that work even if you don't have a cell phone signal or internet. There's also apps that are maps, and they will help you even if you don't have internet or a Wi-Fi signal. They will help you navigate home or wherever it is you're trying to go, even if the internet's down. Again, I'm giving you access to some of the apps that I think are really good. Download them on your phone. These maps, you have to download the city that you're looking for behind the app and ahead of time. So whenever we travel somewhere, we will download the map of where we're going and we have it on our phone. So if we ever lost power or lost internet access, wherever we're traveling, we can still navigate with our phone, even though we don't have any signal. So really good to know about, but you do have to download, say, the city of Seattle or even the Pacific Northwest ahead of time. What I've done is I downloaded all these apps. I threw them in a folder. Mine's called Emergency because there's quite a few. The last couple things I'm going to ask you to do is sign up for Alert Seattle. This one's really important. I think I highlighted it fairly well in your to-do list. This is how the city of Seattle will communicate with us, the public, as soon as they're able to, as soon as internet is back up and people, or not internet, I'm sorry, cell phone signals are back up and people can receive texts or phone calls or whatever. They're going to use this system, Alert Seattle. So make sure you go to it and sign up, get those alerts coming to you. And you can customize it a great deal. You can get a phone call, you can get a text, you can get an email, and you can tell Seattle, the city of Seattle, what do you want to hear about? You want to hear about hazardous material spills or fires or preparedness information or traffic stuff. You can really customize what it is you want to hear about. So make sure you visit Alert Seattle, get signed up. Alert King County has the same kind of system. It just covers a broader area than Seattle. I would suggest you sign up for that too, unless you never leave the boundaries of Seattle for some reason. And then Smart 911, which is what this little lock thing is. Smart 911 is actually a website. You go in there and you put in the information that you are comfortable sharing about your household. And it's all based on medical information. Because here in the city of Seattle, if you have put information into Smart 911, then the ambulance folks, the EMTs, the paramedics on their way to your house can look up that information and know what they're walking into before they ever get to your house. So you can tell them about allergies, chronic conditions you have, medications you're on. I have a pacemaker. I have an artificial eye. I'm a diabetic. Whatever information you want to put in there, they can get that information before they ever hit your door. And so they're just better able to take care of you once they get there. Someone put in the chat, 911 and Alert Seattle are very connected. Play around with it. It is true. They kind of go to the same place. They do a little bit different things, but they are very married, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. I have given you in your to-do list, I've given you the link to a YouTube video, it does have some words behind it. I can't remember if this is the silent version or not. It's really boring. I apologize for that, but I'm not a filmmaker. But it will lead you through downloading all these apps. The easiest thing to do, if you can manage it, is to have a computer up and running this YouTube video and have your phone in your other hand. Ignore everything else on the screen right now, but that square right there is called a QR code. Most phones nowadays, you can hold the camera of your phone up to that square and it will take you somewhere on the internet. And for the video that I'm giving you access to, it will take you to the App Store, basically, so you can download that app. So these QR codes, these black and white squares, are very, very handy for navigating on the internet on your phone. Also, if you're interested, sign up for the Seattle Prepares newsletter. I rarely send anything out. I'm really bad about it, but it is there. You know, I use it to let people know about upcoming classes and that kind of stuff. Next week, next Wednesday, January 26th, same time, 7 p.m., same link that you joined this meeting for. We're going to talk about water, which is crazy important, and a very fun little topic, power outage lights.